I'm currently editing this video, and so the topic gets brought up a few times in the video. I don't want YouTube to restrict the video or whatever. Um, I do not condone, glorify, or take part in any self-harm. That is not okay. If you are having thoughts about doing so, please talk to somebody. Just want to put that disclaimer so YouTube doesn't misunderstand the purpose of this video. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today, this video is going to be a lot different from my typical content. I feel like as a creator, a lot of people on YouTube, they're just a person you listen to, they talk, but you don't really connect with them. In a way, I feel like we don't see them as human. We see them, like, we separate them um, from humanity in a way. I don't know how to explain it, but I know I do this, and I feel like I've heard other people talking about this. And I feel like if y'all can connect with me as a person, y'all might be able to connect with my content better. I've always been a very like stoic person who, um, even though I have emotion, I don't really convey it in the same way that most people do. It's like even in times where I should be, devastated, or I should be losing my mind over something, whatever it is, I show little to no emotion. In fact, I show the most emotion in times that aren't very serious, just kind of me fucking around for whatever reason. Um, I honestly couldn't say why I do this. I don't know if it's some sort of coping mechanism or maybe it's just how I am. I don't know. But today, this video will just be about me as a person and what I've been dealing with recently. I've wanted to make this video for a few days now, but I don't really know how. This is going to be a hard video to make. Recent days have been tough. It is currently September 4th. It is 4:39 in the morning, and I should be asleep right now. I just got out of the shower, but a part of me is scared to lay in bed at night. Just left to my own thoughts because it's it's scary. I mean, about on October 31st, it was me and my girlfriend's 5 month anniversary. We had been together for 5 months. And we didn't really talk that day because she had been hanging out with her family for most of the day. And at no point in the day did it occur to me that it was our 5 month anniversary, and she didn't notice either, so we didn't do anything. And our relationship had been going downhill for a few months, and it had been bothering me. Just the state of our relationship. I wasn't very happy, and the fact that neither of us even knew our own anniversary, it it felt off in a way. So I remember laying in my bed, or maybe I was sitting here at my desk, I don't know, just feeling sad. I just wasn't happy. And then I realized that my friend, good friend of mine, was on the verge of taking his own life. So I just disregarded my own emotions. I was like trying to help him out. I call him, I'm like asking him what's going on, trying to make his night better, and we ended up hopping on Rainbow Six Siege. It's a shooter if you don't know what it is, and we played for a few hours. And then he went to bed. I got off. I went to bed. And even though I was in this relationship that had made me happier than I had ever been, I somehow still felt lonely because of the state of our relationship, and because of just who I am as a person, me being stoic, and I just don't like emotion. I don't like showing emotion. I don't like dealing with emotion. I don't like talking about emotion, which makes this video very difficult to record. Um, I just put everything aside. I didn't want to worry about my friend. Like, I wasn't going to let it stress me. I wasn't going to let the state of my relationship stress me. And I went to sleep. And the next day, I slept in pretty late, so I probably got out of bed 12:30, 1-ish. And I remember I was playing Doom Eternal, and my girlfriend said, "Hey, Amor," and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And she paused for about 10 seconds, and I knew right then and there something was wrong. And when she started to talk, I could hear in her voice that she was crying, and I could just feel it. I could feel it in my chest. My chest tightened. I could immediately feel my heart beat, and I knew that was going to be the end of our relationship. And for those of you who don't know, it was a long distance relationship. And I know you can laugh, make jokes, whatever. Oh, distance relationships aren't real. There's no real connection. Oh, teenage relationships don't matter, whatever. But I truly cared about her. And for a long time, I was happy. And this conversation went on, and we ended up breaking up. And I just felt lonely after that. I felt stressed, and I felt alone. I spent hours talking to my friends about the situation, um, told my parents about it. I can't shake the feeling. Even when I feel like people are really trying to listen, they're really trying to give good advice, they're really trying to hear me, I still feel like nobody cares. And I personally have always had a severe lack of empathy. I struggle to care about others. When somebody tells me something sad, even if it's a person I care about more than anybody on the planet, I struggle to feel for them and I struggle to care about them. So, being who I am, I understand it. I understand people not caring. But it doesn't quite sit right with me. It doesn't feel good. And of course, it doesn't feel good. As humans, we want to be heard and we want to feel like people care. Which I guess is why I'm making this video, because right now I'm just talking to a camera. I don't have anybody's emotions to read, I don't need to overthink, and I feel like a lot of people could relate to what I'm going through. So I spent that whole day, a lot of tears, a lot of crying, which is something I don't really do. I very, very, very rarely cry. And I just felt alone, which is one of the worst feelings in the world. Even, surrounded by my friends, talking to my family, I've never felt more alone in my life. And, it's sad. And I did a good bit of crying. And I guess, technically speaking, it's now 3 days after we broke up. But because I haven't slept yet tonight, it's really only 2 days for me. And it's been hard to process. It's been a rough few days. Then I found out the day after we broke up, find out my brother tried to take his own life as well, which, he's had a million issues in his life. He's, in fact, flatlined, I believe, 3 times now and been brought back. So I try not to worry about my brother too much, but I feel like at the time, with everything I was dealing with, this was yesterday night, it just everything stacking on top of each other, and I broke down. I cried for a solid hour or two, and that really sucks for me. As a person who rarely gets emotional, that is hard to deal with. I don't know how to process it, and I cried until I physically couldn't cry anymore. I was still sad, but there were just no tears left. I just couldn't cry anymore. And I feel like life is rough in a way that all happiness comes at a cost. Everything. Um, every second you spend being happy, you're paying something. Whether it's money, whether it's future sadness, whatever it is, it comes at a cost. You can't just be happy for free. And it's both a gift and a curse, because nobody wants to be sad. Why would we? But in order for happiness to have true value, you have to have sadness. If we were happy all the time, we would take it for granted, and we wouldn't value it in the same way that we do. It takes rough days to make the good days even better. And I feel like as humans, we tend to take our happiness for granted. We tend not to value it in the moment. We're just laughing, happy, having a good time. But it's when you're not happy that you truly value your own happiness. All the time you spent laughing, having a good time, that's when everything matters to you most. And recently, in the past few days, that happiness has had true value to me. It really has. Just thinking back on all the time I spent truly happy. I'm not talking like, oh, you're having a good time, you're playing a video game, or you're hanging out with family, and it's like temporary happiness. It's like, okay, I'm having a good time in the moment. Let's say you're playing a video game, you're happy. You quit playing a video game. Now you're bored. Now you're no longer stimulated. Now you're not happy, whatever. You're hanging out with family, you're having a good time. You go back to your room. Now you're bored. Now it doesn't matter. Now you're not happy. It doesn't carry on the rest of your day. In my relationship for a while, I had unconditional happiness. I could wake up with a smile on my face, just excited for the day, just motivated to carry on because I knew I was going to get to spend my time with one of the people who I cared about most on this planet. And that brought me happiness. Not just like temporary happiness, not happiness that could be ruined, even if it was a bad day, I would still be happy in a way. Like this warm feeling in your chest that's comforting. And you all know what I'm talking about. We've all felt it before, some more than others. And when you have that, you don't value it as much as when you don't have it. Um, and I feel like as humans, we just tend to take a lot for granted. And in these past few days, um, not having that has been miserable. It has been true suffering. And I don't know. It's just hard for me to process because I have always been, like I said, very stoic, not so emotionless. Like I feel emotion on the inside. I just don't convey it on the outside or really process it in my own head. So it's like I don't really process even happiness itself. Like I don't get excited. I don't get like outwardly excited. Like to the point where I'm like bouncing off the walls or like screaming, yelling, just like really fucking excited about something. It rarely happens. So to recently be feeling all this emotion and like really feeling it both on the outside and on the inside and having to process that, it's been odd for me, for sure. And I don't know, I just can't help feeling lonely, which is sad because right now, in this current moment, I have more than a lot of fucking people on this planet. I have it better than like 90% of the planet. I mean, I have basically won the lottery. I look good. My family has money. I live in America. I don't live in some third world country. I've never had to worry about food. I've never had to worry about whether or not I'll have a roof above my head. I have the luxury to go to the gym. I'm homeschooled. I don't even have to go to school, public school. I can do everything on my own terms. And I mean, I'm jacked. I look better than most people. I have every reason in the world to be happy, and I'm not. So it's like in my current position, I feel like right now, I feel like I'm at my lowest, but I'm not. You can always lose more, and I feel like even now, I haven't fully learned my lesson. Maybe nobody ever does. We still take things for granted. Because I'm sitting here, worried about what I had, worried about my relationship, depressed inside, when I still have a million things of value. I still have a million things I should be happy about. And it's hard to process that because in this current moment, I'm not happy. I feel like most people after a breakup aren't happy. This is just common to feel. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's hard when you're in a situation where you feel like you should be happy and you're not. I have always hated talking about my feelings. Part of this is being human. Part of this is being a man. Men typically don't like talking about our feelings because, well, a lot of people don't give a fuck about our feelings. And because of that, we begin to feel like nobody on the planet cares about our feelings. Even the ones we do, we push them away or we don't truly understand when they are caring about us. And um fuck, I just lost my train of thought. Um I don't know. I'm just not good at processing emotion and That's a skill I don't really think I can gain. I think it's just how my brain works. I don't know what to do about that. But what I was getting at is I've always felt embarrassed to talk about my emotions because for some reason in my head, I feel like I'm not allowed to be sad. I'm not allowed to be unhappy. I'm not allowed to be stressed because of all the things I have. Um, Growing up, I was always the perfect child. Never did anything wrong. Always had good grades. Never made my parents unhappy. Just like, my parents brag about me all the time on social media and shit like that. And for a long time, that made me very happy. I was like, yeah, I'm perfect. That's a damaging concept, not con. That's a damaging image to have about yourself because nobody's perfect, and wanting to be perfect or viewing yourself as perfect will only lead to your own disappointment because nobody is perfect and you will never be perfect. But I have always felt like because of all these things, the fact that I have a million reasons to be happy, and the fact that I was always a good kid, I was always happy, that now I'm not allowed to be sad in a way. I'm not allowed to be stressed. I'm not allowed to have bad days because I have a great life. So I feel embarrassed and just, I don't even know the word for it, but I just really resent talking about my emotions because I feel like they're not valid. Like I don't have the right to feel sad. Um, and that's an unhealthy mindset to have. Not talking about your feelings is probably what kills or what leads to a lot of people ending their life. I don't know. I don't know the best way to word these things because I know YouTube doesn't get too happy when you say specific things. Um, but this is more of a serious video. I don't want to say some dumb shit, like some dumbass like code word for it. Um, but yeah, no, I feel like not talking about what your feelings is what ends a lot of things. Not talking about feelings is what ended my relationship. Towards the beginning of our relationship, I set a rule. I was like, nothing is going to just randomly out of the blue end our relationship. Like, if you have an issue, talk to me about it. We will work things out before it causes any problems. And I was like, I'll do the same. And we both promised we would do that. Because communication is very important in a relationship. And I feel like we were both pretty good about it in the beginning. I mean, obviously we didn't tell each other everything when it came to emotions because, I mean, that's really hard to do. But we talked about most of what was important. And turns out about 2.5 months ago, she started to lose feelings. Um, she says it's because of distance. I don't know exactly. I'm just gonna go with that. I'm an overthinker, so I of course am like, no, it can't be because of distance. Clearly, I did something wrong, or this or that, whatever. Um, but she waited 2.5 months to tell me that she was losing feelings. That lack of communication, in my mind, is what ended our relationship. I feel like if she would have told me that 2.5 months ago, it would have been fixable. Um, like, we could have talked more. We could have hung out more. I could have done a better job of trying to understand her, whatever the issue was. But I feel like because she didn't talk to me about it, that is what ended our relationship. That lack of communication. Um, so not talking about your feelings is just a pretty good way to fuck shit up in most scenarios. And, well, I'm a pretty good example of a person who doesn't fucking talk about their feelings. Because I never feel like I gain anything from talking about my feelings. Recently, I've done more talking about my feelings than I ever have in my entire life. I've been talking to anybody who's willing to listen, even someone who I don't know very well. Anybody who will sit there and listen to me talk, I have been talking to. And it feels like none of them, I know I said this earlier in the video, it feels like none of them really care. which surely that's not the case. Surely my best friend or my parents um, would care about that kind of thing. But in my mind, it feels like they don't. It feels like nobody cares. And that makes it really hard to talk about your emotions. If you're doing something and you don't feel like you're gaining anything from it, it doesn't feel rewarding in any way, it it makes it really hard to continue doing that. You lose motivation, especially if that thing, not only is it not providing you anything, it's actually um, you're at a net loss because talking about your feelings is stressful, and then you yourself have to think about your own feelings. So then that causes you to have to process them and really feel them instead of just letting them build up, which is something I'm very bad about doing. I don't really talk about my feelings. I just let them build up until, I eventually explode, have some sort of breakdown, whatever it is. Um, and yeah, I feel like not talking about your feelings, just a lack of communication, is what screws over most things in life. Your happiness, your relationships, whatever it may be. Um, wow, we are 22 minutes into this video. That is weird. I just talked about my feelings. In a way, it feels like a weight is lifted off my chest, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if there's anything else to really talk about, but oh, actually there is. I feel like because of the fact that my girlfriend either lost feelings or started losing feelings 2.5 months ago, um, the past 2.5 months of our relationship was all a lie and a waste of time. All the time we spent together, every time she told me she loved me, every time she said she wanted to talk to me, she wanted to hang out with me, every compliment, every whatever. It all feels like a lie. Because she herself said she started losing feelings 2.5 months ago. So what the fuck have we been doing for the past 2.5 months? What was that? It felt real to me. But now I feel like all of it was fake. All of it was a lie. None of it meant anything. None of it had any value. So it's like, great. Our relationship was 5 months long, and half of that was meaningless. And that's psychologically damaging. Because, well, one, I'm a very logical person. I try to work out everything logically. What did I do wrong? You don't just randomly lose feelings. This doesn't just happen out of the blue. Something causes this to happen. And, she said it was distance, but I feel like I did something wrong. I feel like something must have happened, whether I did it or something else caused it, but I feel like something went wrong. And I can't seem to figure out what that is, what that was, at least. And it's like, I'm glad our relationship ended because, it was long distance and it wasn't going to work out. No matter how hard we tried, it just wasn't. We were both kids, we didn't have the resources to see each other in person, or even way down the line in the future would have been hard for us to eventually be together in person. So I'm glad our relationship ended, but I feel like a lot of women try to draw out a breakup or postpone it, delay it, whatever, to in a way soften the blow, or at least they think they're softening the blow, but they're not. She spent 2.5 months not caring about me. What is it? I mean, I think that's what we're talking about here. She lost feelings for me 2.5 months ago, or started losing feelings for me. So for the past 2.5 months, she hasn't cared, supposedly. Um, what the fuck? That that fucking hurts. That really hurts. Especially considering how genuinely happy I was. I was really fucking happy. A level of happiness I haven't felt since I was little. The type of happiness every child has, it's like you just can't kill their happiness. No matter how hard you try. Even when they have a bad day, it doesn't have any long-lasting effect on them. The next day, they're just going to be happy without anything making them happy. That's just how kids are. And I feel like I had that for a few months. I was the most happy I have been in a very, very long time. Which, it's sad to know that I went from that to how our relationship ended. And it's like the person who was providing all of that happiness is the same person who lost feelings for me and wasted my time for 2.5 months and really lied to me. Every single time she told me she cared about me, she told me she loved me, everything in that time span was a lie? How do I cope with that? How do I process that? That's really fucked up. Um, I don't know, but it feels really good to get all of this off my chest. And I don't know why this is, but for some reason it feels better to talk to a camera than it does to talk to a real person. I'm getting nothing back. No, hey man, that really sucks. No, hey, well, you could try this to be happier. No advice, no feedback, nothing. I'm not getting anything out of this. But for some reason, it still feels better than talking to a real human. I don't know why that is. Now, it's going to take a lot for me to actually record this video. Or sorry, it took a lot for me to actually record this video. It's going to take a lot for me to actually rewatch this video to edit it and then post it because, well, this is the most vulnerable I've been. I don't know, ever. Publicly, at least. When people were around. And it's going to be difficult to post this video, but, you know, if I don't, then I just wasted the past 30 minutes of my life. So, if you're still here, if you stuck around, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me talk about how unhappy I am. I really appreciate you guys. Y'all are great. The fact that y'all sit here and listen to me ramble on with my boring ass fucking numbers. Hey guys, guess what? I lost 6 pounds today, or this week, whatever the fuck it is, which isn't coming back, by the way. I'm still at 140. That's a topic for another video. I really appreciate you guys being here, watching the videos, liking the videos, commenting. I appreciate it a lot. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.